好，那 Bruinsma 总监呢是在2015年加入了阿克苏诺贝尔集团，那在业界拥有超过15年的经验，跨 R&D、业务、行销以及采购，同时也是 NGO 世界绿色建筑委员会 World Green Building Council 的会员。那今天要跟大家分享，涂料是推动永续建筑的最佳帮手。让我们掌声欢迎 Mr. Bruinsma。
Let me start by saying thank you very much. 你好. After this, I'm afraid the translation needs to pick up because, unfortunately, I don't speak the language, but in English, hopefully, I can explain. So, great buildings come with great responsibilities. If you look at this beautiful building behind me, the Aurora Garden here in the city, it determines how the city looks like. The great buildings come with great responsibilities. We're talking about safety. In an area prone for earthquakes, we need to make sure that buildings that we recreate, people are living in, working in, are safe. Great buildings come with great responsibilities when we're talking about health and well-being. So for people building companies, also living and working in a company, making sure that health and well-being is considered is important. But there's one more point. Great buildings come with great responsibilities also when we're talking about carbon footprint and climate change. The build industry holds one of the keys to adapt and to mitigate to climate change. That requires changes. That requires different decisions. But I promise it will also come with great opportunities. I would like to invite you all to embark on a journey of building a more sustainable future together. Climate change. These are headlines that I just found on the internet, but there's many more out there. Climate change is not something for the future. Climate change is happening right now. I'm a bit over 40 years, and in those 40 years, a lot has changed. From the moment that I was born till now, the temperature has increased by 0.7 degrees. That might not sound like a lot. That's half of the benefit that we actually have as society. That's quite significant. In those 40 years, we've increased the carbon emissions in the atmosphere by 25%. And these events that you see over here, that has doubled in those 40 years. Climate change is here, ladies and gentlemen, and only if we take action, we can start stopping this change that is happening. And it's such a big change, such a big challenge that we're facing. And that makes you feel like, what is my impact? Now, I'm an engineer by background, so I really love numbers. And I try to quantify what is the impact we're actually having. And I try to compare that with what the total world is emitting. And on my way here, I try to calculate a little bit. If you look at the impact of an average citizen here of this country, it is 0.07 and then 7% of the total. Hardly anything, right? We almost feel dwarfed by the challenge that we're facing. But then, I'm responsible for sustainability at Akzo Nobel, a large multinational company. So I wanted to check what is our impact when we look at our own operations. It's bigger. It's more than 1 cent. But it's still a lot of zeros. Again, what is our impact? How much can we really influence? Well, I can not only influence our own operation, I can also look at the whole value chain. All of our suppliers and suppliers of suppliers. Like was mentioned, then we're talking about all these Lego blocks which are building together. It's a long chain. So definitely will have more impact. And yes, you're right. But it's still not a lot. It's still very limited if you think about it. So even we as a company, as a whole value chain, don't have that much of impact. Now, just out of curiosity, I looked at what the carbon emissions of Taiwan is and compared that with the global carbon emissions on an annual basis. And that is less than 1%, which makes sense, right? So there's about 200 countries, and there are a couple which are much bigger. So even that, if we decarbonize the whole country, then even that would reduce just by 0.7. Again, not really ambitious, right? How much can we really impact? The one thing that unites us here is that we're all active in the built environment. And if we look at what the built environment actually has as a carbon footprint, then we're talking about real numbers. The embodied carbon footprints are everything that's put into the materials and construction. Accounts for 11% of the total carbon emissions. As a built environment, we have a role to play. We can play a role. We can really make a change. But this is just embodied carbon. Think about what we can do if we also include the operations. Yeah, we're talking about big numbers. 39% of all carbon emissions is related to buildings. Building it, but also operating it. Sure, we can do something. Sure, we do have a big impact. At least that's what we believe at AkzoNobel, is that we can make an impact. We can only do that together. Now, who are we? So you might know us from Dulux, mentioned already, International, Interpol, all brands that belong to the AkzoNobel family. We're a company of just 230 years old, founded in the Netherlands, still headquartered in the Netherlands, but active in 150 countries across the globe. We produce our products at 130 locations, and I'm working together with another 35,000 paints and coatings enthusiasts, people who love see paint dry. And you can find our products really on everything. It's difficult to escape, even if you would try to. Think about the desk, the chair, the car that you're driving. Think about the airplane that you're taking. Even if you would try to escape on the boat on the ocean, many of them are actually coated with our materials. Even if you would go in outer space, on the Mars rover and a lot of satellites, our paints and coatings are being used. And the key thing that we deliver, that we help our customers with, is longevity. Making sure that things last longer. Whether it's your iPhone, or your desk, or your chair, or your car, or the building, or the bridge, it's longevity. And that's the core of sustainability, making sure whatever we produce stays in its original shape for as long as we possibly can. And you can find also some of the most iconic buildings. So this is the Gardens by the Bay in Singapore, but also the London Eye, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, or the Agora Garden. All of them contain our products. And again, we provide the longevity to those buildings. But we do more. Now, when we're talking about sustainability, we focus on 3 areas. One is about making more durable solutions in a sustainable manner. Really about how do we handle our 130 operation sites across the globe. How do we make sure that we reduce the amount of carbon? And how do we make sure that we're reducing waste? And if we're talking about our own operations, although that number might look small, it is still a big chunk that we can actually influence. We're already at 38% reduction on our 2018 baseline. Well on track of reaching our 50% reduction by 2030. The second pillar is about helping our customers become more sustainable. Because there's a much bigger impact that we can make. That's about providing more sustainable solutions to our customers. Think about transitioning away from a solvent-borne product to a water-borne product. The key thing to keep in mind when we're talking about health and well-being benefits, but also when we're talking about carbon, it is a huge impact. We can make those changes. And also about carbon reduction in that whole value chain. How do we collaborate with our suppliers, with our customers, to reduce the carbon footprint of the products that we provide? And it was mentioned about being able to calculate what the carbon footprint is, like you can do with your phone. But we have the data available for every product that we have to determine the carbon footprint. And to be able to steer and to help you support in finding the right solutions. And last but certainly not least, it's about empowering our own people and the community around us. It's about creating a more diverse and inclusive company. It's also about helping and educating people in society. In many countries, there's a challenge with finding enough skilled people for painting. Well, we can train the painters, the scientists, and the leaders of the future with our program. And we're currently around 70,000 people that we've trained, and we want to increase that to 100,000. Now, talking about sustainability, I dare to say that we are a recognized sustainability leader in our industry. That's not because I'm saying that as Director of Sustainability of AkzoNobel, but it has been said by many others. Just some highlights here. We're talking about MSCI. We have a AAA rating for 8 consecutive years, the highest score possible. If we're talking about EcoVadis, a way of also looking at ESG factors of companies, we're amongst the top 1% out of 65,000 companies being assessed. And Sustainalytics looks at the risk, and it's mainly for investors. Investors don't like high risk in that respect. We are the only paints and coatings company which has a low risk score, and with ESG industry lead there. So that's what we do, this is how we are, and what we try to achieve. And that's about taking action. It's great to have ambitions, but actions speak louder than words. And this morning I had the honor to be here at our Chongqing production site, doing the ceremony to open our solar panel installation there. Think about those 130 sites that we have across the globe. The amount of idle rooftop spaces which are there, where we could put solar panels, we can generate our own electricity. Currently, we're progressing well towards our goal of 100% renewable electricity by 2030. We're at 62% already. We have transitioned the whole of Europe, the whole of North America, the whole of Latin America already to 100% renewable electricity. And we keep going. Now that's about our own operations. But we also have offices. And like this building behind me, that's the office that I walk in almost every day. These are headquarters in the Netherlands. A green certified building by BREEAM Excellent. And what is the beauty of this? Is that we have these buildings when we're looking at new leases, new contracts that we have for our headquarters, we search for more green buildings. What's also nice about this is that when I walk in that building every day, I see a lot of our products. Because we supply many of the products in the buildings. Dulux, indeed, our brand for our decorative paints, used for interior and exterior, for walls, for flooring. But we also have fire protective coatings, anti-corrosion in our international buildings. And our Intercom and the Triner and Ceramistar are solutions for facades, for doors, for windows. We have a whole package of solutions available for the built environment, which can do unique things. Now, talking about green buildings, so we are searching for green buildings whenever we renew contracts with our headquarters, whether it's regional or global. But there are more than us that do that. It's one of the markets which is actually growing faster than the built environment itself. Getting more green buildings in is also improving the earnings per square meter for people who own these buildings. And our solutions can help. They can help to score points in different methodologies. If you think about LEED certification, we have solutions there. If you look at WELL or 3-star, there are solutions out there that could help. It's about reducing the amount of carbon and energy with the products that we provide. It's about helping in the use phase to reduce the energy, which I will touch on later. And it's about the improved health and well-being benefits that we can offer. And we have a lot of different solutions that can help customers, explore the points that really make a difference when we're talking about more green buildings. What is important is that I was talking about making changes and making different decisions. It is important that we start using data to make factually right decisions. And it's important to not focus on one small element and forget about the others. Let's look at the full chain and look at the different options which are there. And when I was driving here into Taipei, I was intrigued by the fact of the amount of tiles which are being used at the exterior facades, for a couple of reasons. Of course, we need to look at aesthetics, but it's also about safety, and it's about carbon emissions or climate change. I just did a quick calculation. I told you I'm an engineer, so I love numbers, and looking at the differences. If I compare the EPDs, the environmental product declarations, of a paint versus normal tiles, there's a factor of 60 difference in there per square meter. That's a huge impact. We can make a difference. Solutions are already available. Now let me give a practical example. And you might not be as appreciative of this building as you might be for the Agora garden. And that could be your personal taste on what you find nice or not. But personally, I'm in love with these buildings. Not for their aesthetics, but for what the paints and coatings that are on it actually do. This is our Dulux Weather Shield extracts, which is in Singapore, used for social housing. There's a lot of social housing taking place in Singapore. And this product has some superpowers, I would say. Talking about heat reflection, it's using our Keep Cool technology, reducing the temperature by 5 degrees. That's quite significant. If you look at the amount of energy that people can save in Singapore, in the operation phase of a building, that's between 10 and 15%. Just by that thin layer of paints and coatings that's reflecting the sunlight. And the express stands for, we move from a 3-coat system to a 2-coat system. That's not only reducing the amount of material needed, but also the amount of time needed to apply those coatings. Talking about the availability of painters, well, if we just need 2 layers instead of 3, we can do a lot more. And thereby we reduce the amount of material use, the amount of time. There's a lot of cost savings for the person or the company who's applying. There's a big saving on energy for people who are using the buildings. Sustainability doesn't have to come at a cost. Sustainability can be something that is truly integrated in business. And the beauty of this is that the Singaporean government was so intrigued by this solution that we have that they gave all of our competitors a year to meet the same criteria and to provide this product as well. And currently, they've specified us as, and our products as the standard for all of their social housing projects. So also for us, this is a positive business. Sustainability doesn't come at a cost. And the good news is, actually we have Keep Cool technology here in Taiwan as well. I'm from the Netherlands, I'm not used to really the warmer climate. But here in the city, for me, it's really warm, and I think for many people. That's called the urban heat island effect. Buildings heat up more than they do, hey, you would feel in the forest. That's why it's so important to have these technologies. Reducing that 5 degrees has the impact that it's about climate change adaptation. Temperatures will go up, we'll have more heat waves. So we better get ourselves prepared for it. But you're also able to mitigate climate change, so to limit the impact of it by having less energy that you need to cool those buildings. And there's some beautiful examples here of where we have used these products already. That was exterior. Now let's zoom into interior as well. And this is our Dulux Better Live Clean Air, which is using pure air technology that we've developed together with bamboo charcoal, so bio-based material. And that combination takes the pollutants out of the air. Think about VOC, think about formaldehyde, think about benzenes. Typically things that kind of evaporate when you're installing carpets or covers or other things. is improving the quality of the air from the inside. It's about bringing benefits. It's bringing benefits to our customers. And again, good news. We have solutions here already available in the market. We have products here which are anti-formaldehydes, odorless, in different, and it's actually used on the Agora garden. That's why I was mentioning that it's one of the buildings where our products are also being used. Now you might know the guy which is here, which is Alfred Nobel. We all know the Nobel Prizes probably. He's one of our founding fathers. And as much of a researcher he was, he had something which really stood out, which is understanding future needs. And that's what he did. And that's what we try to copy with our 3,000 R&D people across the globe, trying to develop the paints and the coatings of the future demand. We're talking about a 5-degree reduction in building temperature. But how about thinking about actively cooling? What are the opportunities out there? And we need those 3,000 powerful brains in the company. But more importantly, we need a whole network of universities, of other institutes around us, and also our suppliers and customers, to co-develop these kind of solutions. Because it is about collaboration at the end of the day. And R&D focuses on 4 key areas. Talking about productivity, the first one. So we look at, when we're talking about our performance coatings, they go into ovens. Can we lower the temperature of those ovens? Could we change from a gas-heated installation to an electricity, like UV or an EV? Also, how can we avoid overspreading or less material use? Just be more productive with what's we have. The second element is asset protection. That's the core of what we do. We protect assets, whether it's your car, whether it's the train, whether it's the airplane, or your phone. All of that is about protection. How can we make sure that things last longer? How can we extend the period? It's very important for painting. Well, if it only lasts for 4 years instead of 8, it's a huge impact. Not only on the amount of effort that we will need to put in, but also the amount of material and the amount of carbon that is being emitted. So really an important one to focus on. And then surface enhancement. So what can we do with the surfaces that we coat? Like reflecting energy. Can we also absorb it and use the energy? Yes, we can. Think about using the surfaces for other antibacterial, anti-virus activities. Many things we can do with the surfaces that we are coating. That's what we are exploring. And about environmental protection. We're looking at different raw materials. So more bio-based, more recycled materials that we can use. Taking back leftover paint is something that we're now doing in a couple of countries. And bringing it back into a high quality product. There's a lot that can be done. But we can't do this alone. We can try to make our effort. But only when we work together with others, we can truly make impact. Here are some of the groups that we are participating in, and I'm sure I forget an awful lot of them. But it is important to collaborate with NGOs, with other industries, but also with our customers, with our suppliers, and that whole value chain. Because only then we can really make a lasting impact. I started with saying, great buildings come with great responsibilities. And when we're talking about climate change, we hold one of the keys in our hands as a built environment to make a change, to adapt to climate change, making sure that we're able to cover and to respond to the temperature rises that is taking place. But it's also about mitigating. How can we avoid that so much energy is being used and carbon is being emitted in the buildings? But that requires changes. That requires different decisions. But it comes with opportunities as well. I hope I've shown that there's many opportunities and solutions already out here. We can already make a huge step. And together we can make even bigger steps. It's just a starting point. Because more things will be developed. More things are possible. And talking about business. Sustainability and business can go hand in hand. You can eat the cake and have it. Both is possible at the same time. Think about being able to reduce the cost, or being able to have a better price on your square meter from its green building. Think about demands of the future. What is the customer going to ask for the future? There's business in sustainability, and that's not something dangerous, that's not something bad to say. I really would like to invite you all to join us on this journey of making the built environment a little bit more sustainable and building that sustainable future together. Check.